You think you're doing everything right after your workout. Stretching, foam rolling, chugging that recovery shake loaded with 50 grams of sugar in hope. You think you're helping your body heal. You're probably not. In reality, you're dragging out your fatigue with an unpaid debt. You're hitting the brakes right when your body's primed to accelerate. And most people don't fail at this point because they can't train hard. They're going to fail because they can only recover like amateurs. If you don't understand recovery, you don't understand training. You're just breaking yourself down without ever cashing in the gains. Let's fix it. Recovery isn't just lying on the couch. It's not passively waiting until your soreness goes away. That's like saying you're fixing your finances by just not spending money. Recovery is active adaptation. Here's some science behind this. So when you train, you're going to create micro trauma in muscle fibers. You deplete glycogen stores in your muscle liver. You elevate cortisol in sympathetic nervous system activity. Your body's entire post-workout mission is then to repair tissue, restore fuel, and rebalance the nervous system. That means protein synthesis, glycogen resynthesis, and shifting from a sympathetic fight or flight state to a parasympathetic rest and digest state. If you keep doing the wrong things after training, you're literally throwing wrenches into that process. So think of your recovery like rebuilding a house after a storm. The workout is the demolition crew. Recovery is the construction crew. And you're probably that guy or girl who keeps running in mid-build and knocking the walls back down again. Not every day should be demo day. Here's going to be the top 3 mistakes I hear about all the time wrecking your recovery and exactly what to do instead. Mistake number 1, you go ice cold right away. I get it. You saw an athlete on Instagram hop into an ice bath after they lift. You thought, well, that's hardcore. Well, there's a problem with that. Cold exposure immediately after strength training can blunt hypertrophy. When you lift, your body ramps up inflammation. It's a signal to repair and grow. Cold exposure will constrict blood vessels and lymphatics and reduces the inflammatory signal. No one really talks about No one wants to talk about lymphatics, but they're actually very important. Maybe another episode one day. And cold baths are great for reducing pain, terrible for building muscle. So what should you do instead? Look, if you're chasing strength or size, wait at least 4 to 6 hours after training before cold plunging. Use heat or light movement post-lift to keep the blood flowing. Cold has value, it's just about the timing of when to use it. Use it more on rest days or far from your training session. Mistake number 2 is probably one I hear about the most and one we should probably really focus on. You skip fuel because you'll burn more fat. You leave the gym without eating because you heard fasted post-training boosts fat loss. No, that's just Instagram nutrition advice disguised as science. Here's the truth on that. Post-workout, your muscles are primed to absorb glucose like a sponge. This is glycogen window, your body's best chance to refill fuel source and accelerate recovery. Skip it, you will stay depleted longer. And that will mean slower recovery, worse performance in your next session, and a higher chance of injury. So what should you do instead? Within 1 to 2 hours post-workout, hit the 0.3 to 0.5 gram protein per kilogram body weight and 1 to 1.2 grams carbs per kilogram body weight. Keep fats low immediately post-workout. They slow gastric emptying and nutrient delivery. Feed the machine or it won't. Mistake number 3. You smash static stretching like it's 1995. You're going to finish your training and drop into a deep static stretch, holding each for 60 seconds like your high school coach taught you. Static stretching immediately after lifting can temporarily reduce strength and power output. That's not the end of the world unless you have more training later in the day or soon later. More importantly though, if your muscles are already under micro trauma, aggressive stretching can increase soreness and delay recovery. So what you should be doing instead is when post-training is prioritize dynamic mobility and light blood flow work. Save static stretching for a separate mobility session or on off days. You really need to also understand in recovery the gear shift from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Training is a sympathetic storm. Heart rate spikes, adrenaline surges, cortisol floods. You are in survival mode. Recovery begins when you flip the switch to parasympathetic dominance. Here's how you flip that switch as fast as possible. Box breathing. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. Repeat for 2 to 5 minutes post-training. I've actually learned how to do this and actually it was very weird for me at first, but it actually has been very beneficial. Do some light walking, 5 to 10 minutes to flush metabolites and signal that nervous system to downshift. Then of course, hydration with electrolytes. Don't go crazy with those electrolytes, don't need much. Even with mild dehydration though, this will increase cortisol and delay glycogen resynthesis. Think of it like landing a fighter jet. You can't just cut the engines and hope you glide in. You need a controlled descent. So if you want to recover like an athlete without a full-time staff, here's your basic blueprint. First, protect that inflammatory signal. If the goal is strength or size, delay cold exposure. If the goal is reducing pain or swelling after an event, ice is fine, but understand the trade-off here. Number 2, refuel with purpose. Prioritize protein and carbs in the 1 to 2 hour post-workout. Keep it simple though, keep it measured. This is the easiest win in recovery science. Then number 3, flip the nervous system switch. Breath work, light walking, hydration beat the hell out of lying on the floor scrolling your phone. And then number four, separate mobility from recovery. Mobility work is training. Treat it like training. Place it in your week with intention, not as an afterthought when you're already fried. Then, of course, number 5, sleep like a professional. Deep sleep is where that magic happens. Growth hormone spikes, tissue repair accelerates, and the brain cleanses itself through the lymphatic system. If you're cutting sleep, you're cutting gains, period. You can train like a savage or beast mode, but if you recover like a clown, you're just breaking yourself down. Recovery isn't a luxury, it's the second half of training. Here's a mindset shift. Every minute of recovery is an investment in your next performance. If you're wrecking your recovery by chasing comfort, copying trends, or skipping the basics, you're not serious about getting better. You want results? Then stop sabotaging the very process that makes results possible. Remember, nobody's coming to fix this for you. No one's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, that ice bath right after your lift is killing your gains. You have to know. You have to think. You have to coach yourself.